জীবন আর সংস্কৃতি, আলোচিত কোনো ঘটনা, বন্ধুদের সাথে আড্ডা আর আমন্ত্রিত অতিথিদের নিয়ে FM786.com এর নিয়মিত আয়োজন নিউ ইয়র্ক ডায়েরি। আরজে মোহনা আর আরজে আরিয়ানের সাথে যুক্ত থাকুন, দেখুন, শুনুন, মতামত দিন। নিউ ইয়র্ক সময় রাত 9টা এবং বাংলাদেশ সময় সকাল 8টায় আমাদের মোবাইল অ্যাপ, facebook.com/FM786official, youtube.com/FM786official আর FM786.com ওয়েবসাইটে। নিউ ইয়র্ক ডায়েরি, নিউ ইয়র্কের প্রতিচ্ছবি। দৈনন্দিন জীবনের বিভিন্ন সমস্যার ও প্রশ্নের ইসলামের আলোকে সমাধান, উত্তর আর ব্যাখ্যা নিয়ে FM786.com এবং NTVর যৌথ আয়োজন আপনার জিজ্ঞাসা, প্রতি শুক্রবার একসাথে দেখুন, শুনুন। নিউ ইয়র্ক সময় সকাল 9টা, বাংলাদেশ সময় রাত 8টায়। নিউ ইয়র্কের কমিউনিটি অ্যাক্টিভিস্ট, মেইনস্ট্রিম পলিটিশিয়ান এবং প্রফেশনালদের অংশগ্রহণে কমিউনিটি লিডার মোহাম্মদ আলীর অনবদ্য উপস্থাপনায় FM786-এর আয়োজন কমিউনিটি অ্যাফেয়ার। প্রতি রবিবার দেখুন, শুনুন। নিউ ইয়র্ক সময় রাত 10টা, বাংলাদেশ সময় সকাল 9টায়। মুফতি ওসমান গনি সালেহির উপস্থাপনায় FM786.com-এর সরাসরি প্রশ্নোত্তরমূলক অনুষ্ঠান ইসলাম জানা ও অজানা। দেখুন, শুনুন। প্রফেসর ডক্টর মুজিবুল হকের উপস্থাপনায় স্বাস্থ্য বিষয়ক নতুন শো স্বাস্থ্য সুরক্ষা উপভোগ করুন এবং সরাসরি আপনার রোগ নিয়ে প্রশ্ন করুন আর সাথে সাথে পেয়ে যান সঠিক পরামর্শ। প্রতি শুক্রবার নিউ ইয়র্ক সময় বেলা 11:30টায় এবং বাংলাদেশ সময় রাত 10:30টায়।
I am Soma Syed, and I'm running for City Council in District 24. Early voting starts on January 23rd till January 31st, and February 2nd is the election. Please vote and ask your friends and family to vote as well. Please vote for me, and I will fight for you in City Hall. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulil Amin. Sayyidina wa Habibina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. And welcome to our special program, Know Your Candidates. Tonight we plan and we intend to talk with one of the candidates for City Council District 24, our sister Soma Syed, and she will be joining very soon, inshallah. And before that, let me begin by reminding ourselves that for us Muslims, when we talk about candidacy, and particularly when we talk about political candidacy, we don't mean it pure politics. We don't mean it that politics for us is purely politics. Politics for a Muslim is a means, is a bridge, is a way for us to achieve something. So it is not just to run behind opposition or political position, but we have to remind ourselves and anyone who involved in politics that politics for us is a part of al-amru bil ma'ruf wa nahy 'anil munkar. It is about enjoining, it is about advancing good for the society and preventing the bad things in the society. So there is a good intention to advance a betterment, a good things, and to prevent any bad things in the society through political means. And so it is not just a mere political activity or political involvement to become someone. We are not running any power or any authority, but we are running behind a noble purpose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, knows our intention. And so we have to shape our intention every time that when we do anything, including in any public affairs in our life, must be with intention to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So niyat is very necessary here. And I'm going to talk with a Muslim candidate, and tomorrow another Muslim candidate, just to remind ourselves, and I, as an Imam, it is my duty and my responsibility to remind my brothers and sisters, whoever's involved in any public, candidacy or position, to always remember that our purpose is in the very beginning, and the most important above all and everything else, is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And I did not accept create jinns and humans except to worship me. And that word of worship is very, very important. So brothers and sisters, tonight we are going to discuss the candidacy of Sister Soma Syed, who is running for District 24. And I have to underline and to affirm in the beginning that we are not in the position of, announcing our support. Certainly individually, each one of us has his own choice, to elect. And here, Sister Soma is joining me. Welcome, Sister. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Good evening. Thank you for having me. Good to see you.
It's wonderful to see you. Alhamdulillah. I thank you in the beginning. It is truly a very busy time for you, but you have some time to join us and to educate us and to educate our audience. This being broadcasted on the FM 786 and also on YouTube. And so let me begin by asking you, and after thanking you once again, briefly tell us about yourself, about your backgrounds, and why did you decide to run for city council?
A very good question. So once again, assalamu alaikum, the viewers, and I am Soma Syed, and I was born in Bangladesh, raised in Jamaica, Queens, to immigrant parents. I went to Jamaica High School, IS 238, then I went to City College, and then I went to Albany Law School. After getting my law degree, I came right back to Jamaica and started my law practice to help immigrant communities, working class communities, and mom and pop business entrepreneurs with their legal issues, such as small business issues, unemployment issue, immigration issue, landlord-tenant, or purchasing a home, and bringing extended family members from their home countries to here. And that's been the work that I've done all my life. And it started when my father was alive. And in the early 90s, there were a large population of Bangladeshi immigrants, as well as from other countries, came on tourist visas. And many of them came because of political situations and other situations. And many of them didn't know how to navigate the legal system. My father, may Allah bless him, and he's in Janatul Firdaus, that with his generosity, for pro bono, no money charged, he helped thousands of individuals fill out immigration papers, asylum applications, and I did them with him. And I learned from him how to serve the community, how to serve the people, how to make people's lives better. And after working 16 years as an attorney, I'm currently the president of the Queens County Women's Bar Association. We have a organization of 300 judges and lawyers in Queens County, and we deal with many issues, the promotion and of women attorneys in the legal field. I'm also the chairperson of the New York State Law Referral and Information Service, and we oversee over 60 counties in upstate, and we align competent attorneys with clients who need attorneys. So these are jobs that I enjoy. And then through my work as a founder and senior VP of Community Alliance Group, we distributed so much food during this pandemic. Masks. I held Zoom sessions in my personal capacity, also in the capacity of being a officer of Community Alliance Group. I held session with public advocate Jimani Williams, informing him of the situations right here in Queens: food shortages, lack of access to healthcare, and a lack of access to technology, Wi-Fi issues, small business issue. So running for office is a natural transition for me. I right now I want to legislate. I want to make laws that's going to make a large number of people's lives better. We need to make sure we have representation and advocacy in our communities, which we don't have right now. Think about it in the district, my district, District 24. We have about $750,000 in discretionary funds that as a council member has, and has the ability to allocate to certain organizations. And that hasn't been equitably distributed. We don't have a senior center. We don't have a youth center and we have a large number of both who need places to go and enjoy their recreational time in a place where that is safe and also of learning. So there's so much work needs to be done. And that's why I am running, because work hasn't been done. Our communities have been neglected. And it's time that I felt it was time for me to step forward and take leadership.
Great. That's wonderful. We are going to discuss about these fundings, because I know at the Jamaica Muslim Center we have senior care, but it's being given, the fund is being given to another organizations.
Right.
And that is because of our own shortcomings, because we don't know the way to get the funds. And so by having you or anyone from your community winning this candidacy, it's a blessing truly. But let's go back. These are general questions. Tell us about the most urgent priorities as a member elected to the council. What are the most priorities that you have in mind to put in place?
Well, right now, the priorities are vaccination. Because we're going through a pandemic and there isn't enough vaccine, and vaccines have not been allocated properly. We need to make sure our elderly population, disabled population, people with immune compromise, and everyone else get vaccinated. We need to make sure we have a mobile truck. So our elderly people or people with disabilities do not have to make their journey to a clinic or a hospital and putting them in potential more danger. A mobile truck would go around, vaccinate them, same way that we have this COVID-19 testing trucks or antibodies trucks. So it's very doable, and we need to focus on that. I have already been looking into it. The other thing we need to do, make sure we have high unemployment. We need jobs. Our small businesses that have shut down, or many are on the verge of shutting down. We need to make sure we bring them back. So the small businesses in this community creates jobs. No one from another borough or another place is coming to work here. It's the people who live around the businesses predominantly work, or the families work there. And so we need our economy to thrive. We need jobs to be created. We need to make sure that my priority would be that I work on a senior and youth center for this community, because we really need them. We need to focus on housing to make sure that we have enough affordable housing, because the pandemic spread, especially in Jamaica and other high density areas, because you have a large number of people living together in very small space. I am supporting to legalize basements, to make sure that any basement that could be safely legalized should be legalized, so we expand the pool of space so people can live there. We also need to make sure that our struggling immigrant communities do not have to pay taxes on their properties on 1 to 3 family owner-occupied homes. Since 2002, the rising number of immigrants, with the rising number of immigrants owning homes, they're paying more in taxes. They're struggling. 18% taxes, imagine that. That money could have gone into their retirement account. That money could have gone into paying for tuition for a school, or someone could have taken another course and get another degree so they can earn more money. But they can't do that. And since the number of immigrants have been purchasing homes, there is a correlation that they are paying more in taxes when they do not have to.
Wow.
And finally, we need to make sure we have all of our people are being fed. We need to focus on providing food to everybody so they don't go to sleep hungry.
Wonderful. Wow. That's great. All these are needed by our community, and I'm talking about, our own particular community here in Jamaica area, and mostly Muslim community, of course. We are in need of all those. But let me go back to a general questions. I know as New Yorkers, recently or even now, we are still facing some security concerns. Just in January, this month alone, it's been more shootings that compared to the 2020. In your view, is it because of the police defunding, or what's the problem? And as a city council member, how are you gonna do this?
So I don't support police defunding. I am for police reform and accountability. Yes, there is a correlation. Over $1 billion has been taken and been provided in other sectors, as opposed to having more police on the ground. So we need safer streets, which we don't have right now. We need cleaner streets, which we don't have right now. So yes, there is a correlation. The rhetoric of defunding, for which a number of public officials have fallen for, has created this chaos for us now. And especially in immigrant communities, especially in working class communities, where already you have a high rise of crimes, and where there's a tendency, historical tendency to have crimes happening. And that's what's happening. And it's a reckless idea. It's a reckless rhetoric. And we need to stop it. We need to invest in our communities by providing the funding the police needs, the resources they need, not less. And we are exactly experiencing it. More murders, more home invasions, car invasions. I haven't seen a car theft in years. I remember when I was young, my father, he was walking home one night after work, and we lived in a relatively safe neighborhood. And as he was entering home, someone came from the back, held a knife on his neck, and said, "Give me your wallet or your life." So what did he do? He gave his wallet. And we had our cars broken into so many times. For many years, we haven't had to put that lock jam. That you put on the wheel of a car, you lock it and make sure they can't take it out. And then stereos cars being broken in, stereos being taken away. Your windows are damaged, and we had to fix our windows a couple of times. My aunt one day, she was walking home. It's at 3 in the afternoon, and she was walking home, and I was about 3 blocks away, and I heard scream. And I was like, "What was that scream?" Later on, after I went home, I found out from my mother that she was walking up right on Wexford Terrace, trying to turn into Dunley Road. Wow. That 3 individuals in a car tried to kidnap her and then take her gold necklace. Luckily, she was smart enough to scream so loud that they got scared and they ran away. And that was 3 in the afternoon. I don't want to go back to those days. I lived through those days, and I'm sure you have too. And people are talking about defunding, getting rid of the police, as if these are young people mostly. They have been living through really safe and relatively safe New York City. They don't recall what has happened. They don't remember 42nd Street. They don't remember Hell's Kitchen and the subway when you had to be so cautious, don't fall asleep. Or I remember I had to grab my purse. That's what they said. If you go to Manhattan or go in the subway, make sure you hold your purse to your chest. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go in the subway if that's what I have to do.
Wow.
So I don't want to return to those days.
Wise enough. I think we need to support our police. I'm personally very close to the NYPD because I used to teach the police academy on Islamic culture. So I know how they are working very hard, and they are basically in the front line to save us. So you are focusing on the importance of NYPD reform or police reform. I think that's wise enough. Now we go back to our communities. As a member of the immigrant community and minority, in one hand, we need to do self-improvement. There's no doubt about that. But on the other hand, we know the existence of the systemic mistreatment of minority in our community, in our society, including systemic racism, of course, towards minority and towards non-white community. What do you have in mind in terms of handling these very, very ugly things that we have just seen recently, not only in our city, but nationwide?
As a woman of color, an immigrant, and a Muslim person, I lived through 9/11. When 9/11 happened, it broke my heart watching the Twin Towers fall, hearing the stories of my American friends that as soon as she got out of the subway, she used to work at 100 Church Street, New York City Corporation Counsel's office. She saw, she didn't even realize these were human beings running for their lives. It was like a cattle chase. And she didn't ask any questions. She left her shoes. She ran until she didn't know how she ended up in Chinatown. So what happened on 9/11 has affected everybody. But it has affected a Muslim person in so many different ways, professionally, culturally, religiously, with the over surveillance in so many. And personally myself, like my mother was maltreated in her hospital. Because she used to do hijab. And they spoke so badly to her. She didn't tell us this until a couple of years later, before she passed away. She told us that they told her to go back where she came from, that these are terrorists. I remember, and I'm sure you do, when we went on the plane, as late as 2016, that happened to me. I was going to Cuba with a group of 20 attorneys, and I was the only one in the group selected because of my name. He looked at my passport, he looked at my boarding pass, touched my hands to make sure I had no biological weapons or anything. I didn't handle any biological weapon. I remember my brothers and numerous other people being detained for hours at the airport when coming back from abroad. So we have to acknowledge the discriminatory practices. And you also have to acknowledge why they happen in the first place. Because of the acts of a few, an entire religious group has been condemned. And I know you do so tremendous work, and I applaud you, I respect you, and I honor you for the work that you have been doing and bringing all the communities together. And that's what I love about you, that you're an ambassador.
Thank you.
You're an ambassador for the Muslim community and the Muslim values.
Thank you.
And that's how I see myself as well, as that when you're put in a very tight position, do you back out and withdraw from the world? No, because your job is to make sure the ones who are behind you, your nieces, nephews, your children, the next generation do not have the same suffering, do not face the same struggles.
Sure.
And that's what my mission and mandate has been, to make sure that the the complexities, the dynamics, the variables of a Muslim person. It's so much. And our diversity, even in the Muslim world, it's so beautiful. And there's only a few who has done and continuing to do bad stuff. But coming to hear what we need to do, we are part of this country, entrenched into the good and the bad of what we have gone through. So representation and advocacy, I see two frontiers that we need to conquer right now: public office and journalism. Because if you're in public office, you are a representation of who you are. And they see you. You're not invisible anymore. And they understand you. They will listen to you. And if you're a journalist, you have different perspectives that you can bring forth. Say, this story, this is not the only angle. There's another angle to it. So we need storytellers. We need storytellers with heart and genuineness. And that's how we tackle this the racism, discrimination, xenophobia, Islamophobia, hate, violence, here and everywhere. But I also want to say this is a great country. This is a great country because of allowing us to be involved in the process, allowing us to question. During the 2017 Muslim travel ban, I was at the JFK airport. Within like half an hour, I protested. And then subsequently, I volunteer my legal services with the ACLU, New York Immigration Coalition, and other organizations to defend and represent individuals who were stuck at U.S. airports as well as abroad. So work doesn't end. You do the work, you walk the walk, you do the walk, and you continue your journey. You continue to represent the best way you can. Because I wear so many hats. I'm an attorney. I'm a human being. I'm a woman of color. I'm an immigrant. I'm a Bangladeshi American. I'm a leader of a bar association. And I'm a sister. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a daughter, niece, friend. So, you juggle everything. But the ultimate is to be an ambassador. Your job is to be an ambassador for your people, for what you stand for, what you value. And that's the only way to win hearts. Martin Luther King, Gandhi, that's what they did. They knew what was in front of them: hate, violence, but they choose love over hate. They choose to do the work. And that's what I intend to do. And that's how we win.
Yes, and in the first place, that's what our prophet did, advance love over hatred. And, so coming back to being ambassadors for our faith, for our community, District 24 is a very deeply diverse community. Here in this community, in this district, we have, racial speaking, I think everybody. We have religious speaking, we have everybody. We have Jews, Christians, of course, Hindus, Sikh, and of course, our Muslim community is very large, particularly Bangladeshi, South Asian Muslim community here. And if you happen to be elected, what plan do you have to strengthen, to advance our communal, relations in the area?
I am fortunate enough to be in a place where I already have existing relationship with all the communities because of my work, because of my business, because of my law practice, because being a leader of a bar association, being a community leader, an advocate, an organizer. So I'll be working from the existing relationships I have, then bring everybody together. Because at the end of the day, when you look at the issues that really affect people every single day are the same. They worry about paying rent or mortgage. They worry about their safety. They worry about having clean streets. They worry about making sure they have some money in the bank so they can take that vacation or save for retirement or go do a Hajj or go to the Vatican or go to Israel or go to a place or go to India. So that's what they worry about. They want to make sure that that their businesses are thriving. If they have a business, they worry about make sure their jobs are there if they're working for a company. So we have to understand, appreciate, acknowledge, and highlight the commonalities we have.
Mhm.
And then even in our religion, every religion pleads for love, respect of the others, religious right to practice and preach what they choose to preach and practice.
Mhm.
And those are the common things we have. So I'll be emphasizing on the commonalities, and also not be naive that there are individuals who don't feel that way, or
Sure.
organization who don't feel that way, or there has been some mistrust. So we have to work on it. And individuals like you, I'm going to be relying on you, bringing you in to help me through this process, to talk to leaders of organizations and communities that I am not in touch with yet, because I'm not yet fortunate enough to do it, because I haven't had the need yet to do it, where you have the expertise and knowledge. So I'm definitely going to be calling on you and help me out.
I'm here.
Thank you.
You're absolutely right that we must always find a common ground in the midst of the diversity that we have, either it is religious or ethnic or racial. There must be always common ground that we have. No matter how different we are, we have a common ground. We have similarities between ourselves. Now, coming back again, the point that you mentioned earlier briefly about the funds, as you mentioned that over $700 million basically are intended for community services, for community development.
$750,000 just for my District 24.
Oh,
But
only.
yeah, that's discretionary funds. Those are funds that a council person can give to organizations that he or she deems or wants to give. But there's also the budget. Our city budget is about $92 billion.
Wow.
And there's certain budgets are fixed. You cannot alter. Like, for example, education, transportation, and other services that the city provides. But this money, $750,000 is no joke. Think about it, for a council person over 4-year term, that's almost like $4 million, right? $3.5 million. That's a lot of money.
And that's what we get basically. Jamaica Muslim Center, not Jamaica, but through Daisy Home, that happened to be on Jamaica. But we just host that program for our senior citizens. I think they get over $100,000, and that's why we need you to tell us how to get that fund. This is among the shortcomings that we have as community, including community leaders, that we don't know how to do that in order to get the funding. I know my Jewish friends, a lot of Jewish friends around, they get the funds from Brooklyn, from different places, because I'm in the interfaith work, so I have a good connection with my friends around. So I know how they get the fund. But we Muslim communities are very limited because we don't have knowledge about it, and that's why we need you, to be there to tell us this is what you need. These are the steps that you need to do. Is it?
Yeah, let's just look at Jamaica Muslim Center and Daisy Senior Care. So it's a program that's run 3 times a week for a couple of hours. It's run by India Home, who gets, I remember last year they got over $1 million funding, because this is not the only program they're doing. They're doing other programs as well. Like, why can the Jamaica Muslim Center, or a subsidiary of Jamaica Muslim Center, Jamaica Muslim Senior Care Center, or Jamaica Senior Care Center, because you have to keep it open for everybody, whoever wants to come in and eat. So why isn't that the case? It's because, like you said, the ability to put the momentum together and get it done, the ability to use the resources of the government. We don't have that. We don't have that. I heard, there's like offer of $5,000, $10,000, not even 20 grand to a center that does so much, to a place where every elected official or wannabe elected official comes and gives this speech. And people cannot, and that organization can't even get a 20 grand or a 50 grand. So again, it's about advocacy, representation. It's about recognizing the needs of a community. So the needs are not being recognized.
Sorry, yes. Okay, so yes, so we are badly in need of people like yourself to show us what to do in order to get that fund. But let me go now to something else. As you may know, and all of us know, of course, the community knows that, in order for the Muslim community in New York City having their Eid as a holiday, school holidays in New York City, it took us over 7 years to do lobbying to the city council at the time. It took us like 7, and finally we got approval from the city council. It is over 50, I think 50. There's one didn't vote, but he didn't oppose basically. So almost this is consensus, the whole members of the city council at the time. But Michael Bloomberg didn't want to sign. It's to become a law in New York City. So Alhamdulillah, we have it finally now that our schools are closed during the Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. And now we are trying to have halal food into the school systems because we have many Muslim kids in the schools. So what do you have in mind about this? Do you think to advance this agenda?
Absolutely, because Muslims eat halal food. And some might not have access to halal food, but they want to eat halal food. I know when I was going to school, I didn't eat lunch in school because I didn't want to eat the burgers. I gave my lunch coupons to my classmates who could get the food. So like through junior high school, I did not eat. I did not eat lunch in school. And I know many kids go through the same process. They don't eat in school and they stay hungry. I remember I would take like crackers, and then I was different. I told my guidance counselor, look, don't give me lunch hour. I don't eat lunch. Give me another class. So for a couple of years, they just filled my schedule with classes until last year. They're like, Soma, we cannot give you any more classes. Take the lunch class. Go to the library, just relax or chill, but I can't give you any more classes. And I am sure many kids go through that too, and they tell their guidance counselor, I don't want lunch class, because they don't want to go to the cafeteria, or there's no food for them to eat. So it's an important mission for inclusivity, to make sure our children are fed and they don't suffer while in school from lack of eating, that they have this option. And so yes, I'll be working with other elected officials, the mayor, an organization, to see that this gets done.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Before the last one, because of the time that we had is very limited now, let me ask this. This might be a little bit sensitive, for any political. Sorry.
Oh, don't worry.
In US and can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
So this might be a little bit sensitive. For any political candidacy here in America, and of course here in our city, New York City, sometimes it is difficult to balancing between the general environment that might be not in our interest and our own interest as community. I don't want to be open, but let's say there is an issue that in one hand, as a Muslim community, we have our own, interest in that, while other community, basically because of their power, because of their strength, because of their influence, when we try to pursue our own interest, they will consider, something is undesirable. So how are you going to balance this? And I don't have to mention to be vulgar here in this particular, but there is an issue in our community, in our country, in our nation, in our city too. How to balance this.
Sure.
It's not easy. It's not.
No, it's not. It's a good question. First, as a elected official, my job would be to represent everybody, number one. Number two, to work for issues that affect us here, right here in our home, in our hometown. Take care of the people, make sure they have jobs, food, security, safety. And thirdly, an issue that is complicated or it's complex, there's different opinions. I think we need to have conversation and dialogues and try to bring people together. But what's also important, what you mentioned, is that in order to have a say in certain issues, you need to be at the table. And we don't have enough people at the table right now. And that's a work in progress. And so we have to invest in that, invest in our children, invest in infrastructure or in, like I said, media. Like I said, in having more people run for office so their voices can be heard. But ultimately, we have to be fair. I mean, that's what Prophet Muhammad SAW said. You have to be fair. It's not about you. Yes, it's about Allah and the Quran and the Hadith. But if there are people with other opinions, you have to respect that. And even if that means you don't get what you want, as long as you're able to practice your religion, because that was his litmus test. Am I being allowed to practice my religion freely? If I am, whatever happens, I have to deal in a communal dialogue manner. Everything else. So I strongly believe in that we have to work together. We have to create the relationships. We have to create dialogues. We have to be there for other communities in their needs of time. And it's about showing up at the place, saying, hey, I am here. I'm not invisible. This is what's happening. This is, and it's about creating friendships. You have to create friendships. And when you have friends in different places, and you can talk to them genuinely and they understand you, they don't misunderstand you, they don't think you have an ulterior agenda, then it gets easier to work. Because right now, we're a new community in this country. We have over 1 million Muslims out of the 330 million people here. That's not enough. So we have a lot of work to do. At the same time, thank Allah for the U.S. Constitution that protects our rights. And we need to continue to move forward, work together with everybody, and make sure we are represented and our rights are not affected in this country first. And then we have to look at other issues.
All right. We always get this internet problem, but I have to say that I think you said it very well about representing everyone in your district. That's what we felt about Lord Lansman, that he represents well. He came to Jamaica Muslim Center, he came to our community, he came to the mosque in the area, and I think being as a Jew is a great thing. And I hope that my Jewish friends also listening to this, that if you are elected as a Muslim city council woman, you are going to represent them as well. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, so here we are not representing particular community, we are representing District 24. And so last and final words, Sister Soma, what do you want to say to our viewers?
Well, first, Imam Shamsi Ali, thank you for this space and the platform. I'm so appreciative of it to have this dialogue with you. I want everyone to know right now our special election is actually happening. We're in the early voting phase. Today was the third day. We just finished the third day of voting. The poll side closed at 8 p.m. So we're going to have a total of 9 days of early voting till January 31st. I urge everybody to go out and vote. It's such an important election. Presidential election was historic, but I consider this election to be historic because you have an opportunity to elect a woman of color, immigrant, Muslim, but with the vision and leadership to represent and have the ability and the desire to represent everybody in District 24 and beyond. So, and then we have special election on February 2nd. The polls will open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. And during this early voting, only 3 places you have the voting happening. You have Queens College, you have Helen Marshall Center in Queensboro Hall, and York College. But on the day of election, February 2nd, polls will be open at the regular spaces and schools. So I urge any voter who lives in District 24 to choose me as number 1. Since this year, there's the ranked choice voting. You have the option to pick 5 candidates. You're not required to, you're not obligated to, but you have that option. And I request you to pick me as number 1 because of my leadership skills, because of the work I have done, because of my advocacy skills, because of my connections. And I've done the work. I'm not just talking. I actually have done the work, and I have the receipts to prove it. So please choose me as your next city council person, because I would love to have the chance to represent all of you, this diverse, beautiful community of ours.
Thank you, Sister Soma. And certainly I would like to add to our Muslim viewers, particularly that, you are our pride, of course, here in this regard. You represent us. And I just wanted to say that your involvement to become a candidate is certainly one of the way to show that we Muslim community here in the city and in this country is not only to take, but also to give, that we are contributors. So I think it's the best way to contribute by becoming a part of the system. So I'd like to thank you on behalf of the community. And again, don't forget, the early voting had begun since last 3 days. So please do, this is your responsibility. I used to say for the Muslim community, this is not only a civic responsibility for us, it's a part of our religious responsibility to take part. Politics for us is Amar Ma'ruf Nahi Munkar. It's a way for us to advance good and to prevent bad things in the communities. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us and help you, Sister Soma. Thank you so much, very much for joining us, and good luck to you, inshallah.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
I am Soma Syed, and I'm running for City Council in District 24. Early voting starts on January 23rd till January 31st, and February 2nd is the election. Please vote and ask your friends and family to vote as well. Please vote for me, and I will fight for you in City Hall. Thank you.